Welcome back to the second video in this tutorial series. In this part, we'll be playing a match of Pandemic Mode as the CERC on the Director's Cut difficulty. I'll be going over some of the basics you'll need to know from the start of a match, right up to having a solid base and frontline defense set up. At the time of recording, I'm playing on an experimental branch of 1.3, so I can show off the most up-to-date features possible. But by the time you're watching, many of the things we discuss may have had major changes, so keep that in mind as you follow along. I'll start by showing you a basic and flexible strategy, which should allow you to reliably get started, but once you're comfortable with your abilities, I suggest playing around and creating your own strategies. Experimentation is part of the fun, and being able to adapt to unexpected situations will be key to defeating the infection. Your first step is to establish a CERC HQ and begin building your base. There are a few factors to think about when deciding. You want to balance between a location with good income generation points nearby, space to build, and making sure the area is defensible. A few examples of locations which offer a reasonable balance of these is the Plaza at Ellen's Point, Point Hill Naval Base, Glen Military Barracks, or Nike Missile Base. When deciding on a base location, it's also important to pay attention to the newscaster in order to figure out where Patient Zero has spawned. If you attempt to build your base too close, you may find yourself pushed back and having to find a new location before you've had a chance to even start fighting. After you start, take your initial force and move to the location you want to use as a base. For this video, I'll be using Point Hill Naval Base. Once you've disembarked, select your engineer and begin by placing the HQ building. Most larger structures are delivered via helicopter, with smaller things such as generators or walls constructed by engineers on the spot. While the HQ is delivered, if there's one nearby, use your engineer to place an income tent on a nearby capture point. The engineer will construct the tent, and you'll begin receiving periodic airdrops containing income, allowing you to purchase additional units, upgrades, and structures. Income points are split into 3 levels: low, medium, and high, which each offer varying amount of income. While quarantining the infection is your top priority, you should also send engineers every now and then to capture income points and ensure you have enough funding to keep up with the virus as it becomes more powerful. Anyway, now construct a barracks, and while it's airlifted in, place a generator next to it in order to begin generating power for your base. Once your barracks is constructed, order a few assault units, and take note. While training new units, you can decide which weapons and equipment they should be deployed with, which can drastically change how a unit is used in combat. Any new units trained from field structures will be delivered via an airdrop nearby the building they were trained from. Airdrops take place every 30 seconds, and you can see the timer in the top right, which will show you exactly how long before the next one takes place, so be sure to plan ahead before ordering units. Here's a quick look at the basics you can equip an assault unit with. Once your units have arrived, consider adding them to a control group by holding Control and pressing a number key. As you continue to build up in the early stages of a game, also consider ordering additional engineers in order to construct income tents and set up static defenses around your base quickly. In the early game, moving fast is key, so the quicker you can get things done, the quicker you'll be ready for the infection. Now that your base is established, and assuming you know where the infection is, it's time to start focusing on building a strong defense and working towards countering Patient Zero. Your first step should be to identify choke points, locations where the infected will have to pass in order to continue infecting new zones. Setting up robust defenses in these locations will be one of the key aspects of maintaining map control and eventually defeating Patient Zero. Be careful when setting up your defenses, as during the early game, Patient Zero will sometimes send a lieutenant to infect a new area. Lieutenants are powerful infected units which can overwhelm unprepared forces on their own and should be treated with caution before engaging. However, most well-built defenses will be able to hold them off, and once you've eliminated a lieutenant, they will remain defeated for the rest of the game. Now usually once the infected have spread and found a location they can't breach, they'll begin to send infected units at you, often focusing their attacks on a single location. Make sure you construct plenty of defenses, as the infected have several units capable of breaking through, which can lead to a swift defeat. I suggest equipping some engineers with launchers, as after a few days you'll begin to run into juggernauts, which will require anti-armor weapons to handle effectively. You can change which weapons units have equipped at a barracks, and to avoid wasting ammo on heavier weapons, you can set their fire mode to specials only.
Engineer, ready.
As you kill infected targets, you'll also earn Doctrine Points over time, which can be used to unlock a variety of abilities and units. Each of the Doctrine trees focus on a specific area, such as aircraft, tanks, engineering, or infantry, but you won't be locked into the one you choose. You can invest points into all the trees if you wish, but you may want to focus on certain unlocks, as some of the more powerful units you can unlock will make fighting the infected much easier. Now the infected are bottlenecked, and you're earning Doctrine Points over time. But keep an eye out, as the infected have a variety of units and tactics they can use to circumvent you. I won't spoil everything, but keep an eye out for bird swarms. They can fly behind your lines and spread the infection where you'd least expect it. That concludes Part 2. In Part 3, we'll go over diplomacy, civilian management, and evacuation. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed.